What's up guys, welcome to another video. So in this video we're going to be talking about how to deal with Belial, because this man, he's a menace right now. This guy is a freaking annoying character to deal with, definitely top 1 in my opinion. And I play the character, I got no shame because I enter competitions, I will use him. He's fun, but this man is top 1 and he is a problem. And they are going to nerf him, I'm sure, whenever they do the update, a big update. They're going to do like a little nerf with the Calistro coming out. They're going to nerf like his backdash or whatever. But for the most part, he's going to be the same character. So for the time being, we have to deal with him. So we got to go to the lab, see what's going on, and find a way to beat this character. So I'm going to have this video in 3 sections. We're going to go over first the basic punishes, what's unsafe, what's safe, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go over his fireball game, which is not that crazy, but his fireball game is better than most other characters, but they nerfed the fireball game overall, so it's still not that big of a deal. And the third part, which is going to be the meat of the video, and that's all of his insane pressure, frame traps, plus frames, fake plus frames, his command grab. That's where he gets a little bit ridiculous. So I labbed this character for a while, so I'm going to be going over how to deal with all these things. So let's start with his punishes. Now of course Belial, he has a DP. If he does a DP, obviously you block it, it's unsafe. That's any character. Now Belial's unique that he has his medium DP, that if you block it, he's actually like +2. So you don't actually want to block it. Now you notice on the way up, it doesn't actually hit you. It only hits you on the way down. Which means in order to punish this, you have to anti-air it. Now just make sure to the best of your ability that you don't block it, but if you realize you're too late to anti-air it with a 2H, if you have a DP, just do a DP, maybe spot dodge it. But whatever you do is, if you see you're too late, do not do a 2H when you're too late and he gets a counter hit, because he gets a counter hit and he gets a full combo. You don't want him getting a full combo off a DP, so if you're too late, just hold the plus frames, it's not that bad. But overall, you can anti-air it. Now let's talk about his EX DP. This is kind of like Charlotta. Like he goes up and then he comes down. But for him, you can do a couple things, right? Let's say you're in a chip out situation and you want to spot dodge. This one you have to do like a double spot dodge. But for this DP, it's kind of interesting. When you spot dodge, you can't just do like a regular double spot dodge like this. You have to do a spot dodge regular, and then you have to reverse the input just because of how Belial is on top of you. So I'm gonna just do it, you know, how you would spot dodge like Jita's or Grand DP, like the double spot dodge, and what actually happens if you try to do it like that. Because of where Belial is on the air, you get like a roll. So you have to do like a spot dodge in the reverse direction for the second time. Or instead of worrying about that, you can just anti-air the second part as it comes down. Now depending on your character, you're going to decide which one you want to do. Like some characters get better anti-air combos, and some characters get better grounded combos. So like if you're playing Belial, then you get a better anti-air combo. Alright, let's go to his next move. That's his like hand grab thing. So his hand grab is basically, this has the same frame data that Jita's Rekkas used to have. So like the light version, that is -6. However, he could space it to be safe, but it is -6. So if you do like an auto combo into the light hand, then you know you're punishable by any like 5 frame normal or 6 frame normal, whatever. You get punished for it. Now his medium one, it comes out slower, but it's only -4, and the same thing with his EX, it's only -4. So if you block this, it's your turn, but you ain't getting no punish. If you're fighting a nutty Belial and they like to DP after everything, they're gonna do this and then go for a DP because they're not punishable. Just be aware that they may do that, but you could punish the light version of it. So let's talk about his fireball. So generally with characters, if you do a fireball in somebody's face, you're gonna get punished for it. So Belial's, his is -10. Now it used to be pre-patch, pre-season 2, if you do an auto combo into a fireball with any character, you would have enough space to where you wouldn't be punishable, but they nerfed fireballs across the board, and that also translated to Belial. So if he does an auto combo with a fireball, he is actually unsafe if you have a move that can reach him. Now the last thing I want to talk about in this section is his parry. His parry is really good, but it's hella unsafe. You can get a full combo punish for free every single time he does this. So you see him parry like that. You're like, okay, you don't press anything until you see his hands like come down. When they're no longer up like that and they start coming down, that's when you can press something, you know, and get your full combo. Now you can do two things. Either you can do your best grounded combo, or if you want to be cool, you can do something like this. So assuming your 2H is able to anti-air, because I tried with Lancelot, and Lancelot's 2H almost never anti-airs the parry for Belial. I don't know why, but it just doesn't. So if I was a Lance player, I would just do a grounded combo. So you have to see if your character you can even anti-air Belial. But if you can do something cool like that, then you might as well, or just do your best grounded combo. And at the same time, just make sure you're running him to the corner. That's another good thing you can do. Put him to the corner, maybe get a full corner combo. So that parry for Belial, it's good, but if he uses it wrong, you gotta destroy him for it. And just so you know about the parry, it has a 4-frame startup. So you can do frame traps to where he actually can't even do the parry. So just to show you what I mean, I'm gonna have him do a parry like after blocking an attack. So if I do the frame trap right, you see how it gets a counter hit? Because it takes 4 frames to start up. But if I do like a medium punch, for example, then he parries you. But for the most part, if he parries a light attack, you're not going to get punished. And if he parries some medium attacks, you're not going to get punished. Now in that situation, when you see he parries one of your attacks, but he can't necessarily punish you, you have a couple options. If you have a DP, you're going to want to DP him. Do not spot dodge, because if you spot dodge and he's mashing buttons, he will be plus, because this is the way it works. By the time you spot dodge and you recover, you're not going to get punished after spot dodging, but the Belial player is going to be plus in that situation, so that's not what you want to do. If you have SBA or SSBA, then you're going to want to do that and you get a big punish. Now if you're a character that doesn't have a DP and you don't have your SBA or whatever, then you might as well block it, because the stomp is -4 and it is your turn, so you can just take back your turn like that. Now let's talk about his fireball game. Now his fireball game is probably the best out of every character except for Matera, because Matera is supposed to be a fireball zoner. But overall they did nerf fireball, so if it was season 1 it would be even more crazy. But it's not that crazy, but it's still better than like Jita, Cat, Gran or whatever. So you gotta keep a couple things in mind when you're trying to work around it. First thing is, normally your reaction to fireballs is to spot dodge it. Now for Belial, that's not necessarily a good idea. So look, I'm having to throw a fireball. Oh look, I get hit. Because he can manipulate his fireballs. He can do the circle thing, which just makes it stay there for a while, makes it really plus. He can make it go back, he can make it go up. Then he has an up fireball on top of that. He can make the up fireball come back to him, make it go down, or make it stay in the air. So he has like a bunch of different things he can do with it. So because of that, just simply spot dodging a fireball doesn't always necessarily work. You're gonna want to be careful about that. If you're in a near death situation, then if you try to spot dodge and he does this, he's gonna take a good chunk of health. Now if you're in chip range, then honestly you just gotta guess at that point, which kind of sucks, but that's how it is, you know. But it's not just, oh, you'll take that little bit of damage. No, if you spot dodge at the wrong ranges, you're gonna die. So yeah, if you're like at this distance and you see a fireball, I wouldn't spot dodge if I were you, because yeah, you can die for it. Now another thing I want to mention, you can jump his fireball just like you can any other character. If you get the jump correctly, you know, you're gonna get a punish. Now of course you can get anti-air, you know, the whole fireball mind game and whatnot. But with Belial, he can do things with his fireball like I showed before that kind of stops jump. So like if you try to jump at him and you land on him doing something like this, he can get a combo on you. So as you can see there, even though he did an empty jump, because he landed on that thingy or whatever, I was able to do like an air unblockable move and therefore get a combo. So that is a risk you're taking when you jump at Belial. But overall, even though his fireball game is really good, it's not really all that big of a deal. He's not going to destroy you just from fireballs, because they're kind of slow. You can roll past them, get in or whatever. Just be mindful in certain situations. Just don't always spot dodge the fireballs, because you're gonna keep getting hit. And don't always jump, because he can just bring the fireball back up, force you to block in the air, and then get a combo. And just one thing to note, some moves that are meant to beat fireballs, like Ladiva's SBA and whatnot, they will not work on Belial if he does like this version of the fireball. That's like a bait for it. Now just to show you what I mean, you know, Ladiva has her SBA, goes through fireballs. They did nerf it a little bit, but it still serves the same purpose. So let's see what happens if he tries that versus Belial. You see, that did not end well. So for your character, if you have a move like that, you have to lab to see if it works. Now I did lab with every character just to see. I know Zeta's works, Zoe's SSBA still works, Vasaraga Super does not work, you get hit. If you try it with Charlotta, you're gonna get hit. Jita will get hit. And that's all I could think of on the top of my head. But for your character, if you have an SBA that supposedly goes through fireballs, just see if it can beat Belial doing this. Because if it can't, then I wouldn't recommend doing it, because it's not just a little hit and you wasting your super, which is bad enough as it is. This man gets a full combo. And if he has SSBA, that's an SSBA combo. So don't let that happen to you. So that's about it for his fireball game and his main punishes that you can do. So now let's move on to all the pressure and the crazy mix-ups that he has, because that's where his strength really lies and where he causes the problem. And before anything else, let's talk about his frame data a little bit, because it's important to know. So he's a 5 framer, so he has a 5 frame 2L and a 5 frame 5L. Close 5L, because for 5L that's 6 frames. His 2M is +1. Yes, he has a 2M that's a low, that's +1 for some reason. And that comes out in 7 frames. His FAR 5H comes out in 9 frames. And that's about all you need to know for his frame data. Just know this is plus, that's plus, this is plus. So just so you guys know what I'm going to be going over for this part, I'm going to be talking about his frame traps, his mix-ups that he gets from his auto combos, his mix-ups that he gets from his 5H, and all his tick throw nonsense setups. Alright, so let's talk about his first frame trap. That's a real one. He can do 2M, 2L, and stand 5M. That's a legit frame trap. You're not going to press anything out of it, and you're not going to be able to jump out of it. Your only answer will be DP. His next frame trap, which people try to do, is a legit frame trap to where you can't press anything, but you are able to jump out of it. So basically with any Belial's little frame traps, no matter what button he presses, if he follows up with like another 2M, you can jump out of it. So like if he does 2M, 2M, you're able to jump out of it. If he does like 2L in the 2M, you can jump out of it. He does 5L in the 2M, you can jump out of it. Doesn't really matter what he does there. You can jump out of that mix. But here's the thing with that though. Even though you can jump out of that, you can't jump out of 2M into FAR 5H. And there's a whole little mind game that comes with that. Because a lot of times you're going to be in the neutral or whatever, and Belial can't do his quote unquote, real frame trap, He does his 2M, you'll be too far away to connect with like a 2L or whatever. So he may do stuff like 2M, 2M, and that, that is a legit frame trap from certain ranges. Because even though you can technically beat that out with a 5L if he was like right in your face, at certain ranges from here, it would actually like crush your normal because this is how the spacing works. But you're able to jump out of that situation. But Belial's love to do this, right? They love to do 2M from this range, and then you're at the perfect spacing for him to suppress 5H. But let me show you what happens real quick if you try to jump after Belial does a 2M. And the thing is, he's +1, right? So it's actually very hard to contest him. But here's what you gotta remember when I talked about the frame data. His 2M is +1, and his FAR 5H comes out in 9 frames, which means you have an 8 frame gap in between that. So basically, you're gonna wanna press something that's faster than 8 frames, preferably 7 frames or whatnot, and you'll be able to beat out Belial if he does that. Or you can do this instead. Instead of pressing a button and getting worried about getting counter hit, you can just spot dodge instead. If you spot dodge at the right time and make both these hits miss, you get a full combo punish. Now of course you do have to be careful with the spot dodging though, because if you spot dodge and the opponent reads that, you will die, but just don't overdo it too much. But to be honest, it's not really the end of that little mix-up. So in this scenario, right, we have Belial doing a 2M from like a certain distance, then he wants to do FAR 5H afterwards, but he can do other things. But instead, he can do 2M and cancel it into a fireball that makes himself plus. He can do the spin to make himself plus, or do the like pullback thing, which makes himself plus. So when he does the pullback, he's +2, so he can like pressure you with medium or whatever. So pretty much, if he does that, you have to hold it. Or of course, he can do EX fireball. So here is the little mind game that's going on. If he does this, that is a frame trap. 2M into this is pretty much a frame trap. If you try to press anything, you're gonna get hit. Now the way to beat Belial from doing 2M into the fake fireball like this, you're gonna wanna press something. Because you're able to hit Belial before that fireball actually comes out, because it has a lot of startup. But if you just sit there and block, he ends up being plus. And of course the other mix-up is you're just gonna do FAR 5H. So for my labbing, you're able to cover 2 options at any given time. So let's say you've made the decision to spot dodge after Belial does a 2M. So if you want to do a spot dodge, you're better off doing a delayed spot dodge, because if you do a delayed spot dodge, you'll be able to block this frame trap because you're not doing it immediately. If you were to spot dodge or press a button immediately, you'll get hit by the EX fireball. But if you just slightly delay it to where the same timing to where you would block this, if you press spot dodge late, you already be blocking, so nothing will come out. And of course, if he does not throw the EX fireball, you'll just spot dodge the far 5H if the Belial player chooses to do that. Now, the only thing that will lose to is if Belial does this, because that's not a frame trap. Because during that entire period, you're able to move. So if you spot dodge in that situation, this fireball will hit you and then he can get a full combo. Now, the other option you can try to do is, oh, I want to press a fast button, a 7-frame button, or faster. If you do that, that will beat Belial from doing 2M to far 5H, because remember what I said, if you press a button that has enough reach that 7 frames or faster, you will win that trade. And also if you press a button, you're going to beat Belial from doing some nonsense with the fireball. The only thing that will lose to is an EX fireball, because that is a frame trap. Now that is just if you choose to take that risk, because in either scenario, if you guess wrong and he does one of the options to where you get hit, he does get a full combo. Because if you get hit by this, you're getting hit by the full combo. Or if you're getting hit by EX fireball, it's the same thing, you're getting hit with a full combo. So it's up to you to see what the tendencies of the Belial player is. And just remember, this scenario is just if he does a 2M from a further range, not right in your face. Because if he does a 2M right here, he can just do 5L frame trap, whatever, he can do other frame traps. This is just at a certain range what his options are, and these are what your options are. But my advice would be, when it comes to all this, is just to see what the Belial player's tendency is. What do they tend to like to do? Like a good Belial will just always mix it up, so it'll make it kind of hard to see what they're doing. But if you see they're kind of autopilot, or they're just doing 1 or 2 options, they just really like to do this into far 5H, because they see you're not stopping them from doing that, they have no reason to not continuing to do that, because far 5H also leads into other mix-ups and whatnot. So just remember, if you know they're going to go the far 5H, you just spot dodge or punish, or press a button fast enough. Just know you are at risk of getting hit by other things. So I'll just say, when you first play the Belial, just block it out, see what they do, and then next time you just counter them when that situation arises. So now let's talk about Belial's mix-ups during an auto combo, because he has a million things he can do. So if Belial cuts the auto combo in half and does EX fireball, that is a frame trap. So that means if you're mashing buttons in between the auto combos to try to stop a command grab or whatever, the EX fireball is gonna hit you, so that's not a good idea. So like I just mentioned, he can also do an EX command grab in the middle of his auto combo. Or he can also go for the plus fireballs and do something like this. He's +2, and then you're back in his face again. You have to guess, strike, throw. Every time he does that, you have to guess, strike, throw, because he has his throw bait mix-ups and whatnot. But I am going to go over how to deal with that. But basically, you don't want to block that. So for this particular mix-up, it's actually not even a mix-up whatsoever, because all you got to do is just press delayed buttons. You just got to slightly delay your mash to where at the same time you would block the EX fireball. So instead of mashing like crazy, just, you know, press the button a little bit late, so you have enough time to block the EX fireball and you'll still hit Belial out of all the other situations. So if the Belial player tries to cancel something off 2 hits of the auto combo, there's actually no real mix-up. Just remember, you just gotta practice pressing buttons at a little bit of a later timing. So what if Belial does a full auto combo? Well, if he does a full auto combo, the EX fireball no longer becomes a frame trap. That's just a legit true block string. They may do that for plus frames to get, you know, other pressure or whatever, but there's no actual frame trap there. So for the most part, you're able to mash. Once you see he goes for the 3rd hit of the auto combo, I will just mash if I were you, because there's nothing he can really do. The only thing he can do to frame trap you is the medium hand, because if he tries to do the EX hand is also like a true block string after the full auto combo. Same thing with the EX fireball. If he tries to do the fake fireball in the plus frames, well, if you're mashing, you're just gonna beat that. So the only way he will beat you is if he does the medium hand, which doesn't really get him that much reward, but it can beat you out of it. But I would say just like 95% of the time, if you see him go for the 3rd hit of the auto combo, just start mashing, because there's not really much you can do about it. So even if the Belial player tries to be cute and do like a medium DP like in the middle of their auto combo, you can still DP him even if you do like a delayed jab. But if you don't have a DP, then you may have to hold it, but you can still do like SBA, SSBA, and stuff like that. Alright, so let's talk about his far 5H. Now his far 5H by far his most annoying button that this man has. And he has a lot of little setups and little tricks coming from it. But mainly when it comes to the neutral aspect, just realize the spacing of it. Like this is starting point. At the starting point, it's in range of hitting you. Not the first part, but the second part. So Belial is only able to special cancel from the first part. Just be careful though, if you're trying to whiff punish the first part and the second part hits you and gets a counter hit, he gets a full combo. Now I think that's kind of dumb. That's a wonder if I'll be like okay with just take that out. He doesn't need that, but just be careful about that. If you want to whiff punish it, just whiff punish the entire thing. So anyway, the main point you want to get from this move you could only cancel from the first hit, and the whole thing, if you block the entire move, it is a true block string. Now you can use that to your advantage for many OSs. Now Belial has many different frame traps he can do after his far 5H, because you have to guess a few things, right? At certain ranges, far 5H and the EX fireball is a frame trap. However, if he's a little bit too close, this becomes a true block string. Like from this range, that's a true block string, but if he does it from like this far away, that's a frame trap. Now that just comes with understanding neutral and spacing, but overall the OSs I'm going to show you work either way. So let's talk about the SSBA or SBA OS. So this is a really good trick you can use on Belial. Anytime you see yourself blocking the far 5H and you have a good SSBA or SBA that has decent reach, you might as well just start mashing it. This is why. If the Belial player just does the far 5H, that's a true block string. If it's a true block string, that means you can't super, you can't DP, you can't do nothing in between. So that's good. If Belial is a little bit too close and he does the EX fireball, that's a true block string. Again, nothing will come out. But if Belial is a little bit further away, he does EX fireball in a way that would be a frame trap to stop you from mashing, you're mashing super. So that means your super is going to come out and punish Belial. So if Belial does any kind of frame trap fake thing after his far 5H and you're mashing your SSBA, you will beat him out. There is absolutely nothing he can do against most characters. The one thing that works, for example, in the Belial mirror, he can do far 5H into medium DP, and the medium DP will make Belial's SSBA whiff. So that's just one option, but I tried everything else. I tried, okay, I'm doing far 5H into spot dodge. That does not bait anything, he still gets hit. I did far 5H into regular fireball being a frame trap, he gets hit. I did far 5H into the hand grab. Again, that's not a true block string, so he gets hit. So no matter what Belial does, except maybe a medium DP, he could avoid the SSBA, he's gonna get hit. And if you have a character like Zoe, her SBA goes like up or whatever, I'm pretty sure that will still hit Belial anyway. Or her SSBA goes like so freaking high, so I don't see any character really avoiding that. So I would test it out with your character, but for the most part, your SSBA or SBA should work in that situation. So just remember, anytime Belial is doing far 5H, and 99% of the time, if your character has a decent super, they're gonna win that situation. Okay, but what do you do if you don't have a super or whatever? So you have to realize what Belial is able to do. And I kind of mentioned it already, right? He can do EX Fireball, generally to cause a frame trap, to make you scared to press buttons. And then the Belial is going to try to do fake Fireball in the plus frames, which brings you closer. And then again, you're either in a throw or strike mix. Because he's at least +2. Because in Duff Stoopy says he's +2, but I could imagine him being even more plus. But even if he's just +2, he can literally do like a 2M, which is 6 frames, and you can't press anything or do anything about it. So you're going to want to avoid that, or he can do 5H into command grab. Now the way to beat this is pretty similar to how you dealt with like the auto combo OSs. You just want to do like a delayed button press. That would be your best option. Because if you do a delayed button press, again, you'll be able to block the EX Fireball because you're delaying it just enough to not be hit by the frame trap. So if he does the frame trap, you're just going to block and no buttons come out. He tries to do the fake fireball nonsense, you're going to hit him out of it. He goes with the command grab, clearly you're going to hit him out of it. And that's pretty much for the most part, just in general with Belial, how you want to deal with like his mix-ups. Just generally just do like a delayed button press to where frame traps, they won't hit you. He tries to fake fireball, you're going to hit him out of it. He tries to command grab, you're going to hit him out of it. Now, another thing you can try to do is you can try doing it by reaction. Like if you see the flash of the command grab, you can like press poke or whatever. But I find it hard to do that with auto reaction because there's just so much you got to worry about. Got to worry about medium DP, command grab, fake fireball, EX fireball. It's just too much necessarily just like react, in my opinion. So I prefer this to do option selects that cover most options. And honestly, for the most part, just a delayed button that takes care of all the 5H mix-ups, and that takes care of most of the auto combo mix-ups. Now there's one last thing I want to cover that has to do with Belial, and that's how to deal with this whole tick throw nonsense. Because every character, you know, has a tick throw. They do jab and then the throw, and maybe the mix-up is, oh, they're going to go for an overhead to counter hit your tech. Now in this game, there's plenty of OSs to deal with that kind of stuff, which I am going to show you. And I found a new OS that works specifically for what Belial does. Because Belial, instead of going for an overhead, he doesn't have to do that. He can just do JU. Because his JU already is kind of a mix-up of which side he's going to go on. And that's a perfect throw bait, because he can just do jab, oh, you go for a grab, oh, whoops, I'm in the air and you're going to get hit. And that will also beat 2Ls. Like if you're mashing 2L, it's going to go above your 2L and still hits you anyway. So that's a really strong thing Belial has, but I found a way to actually counter it really good. But before I show you that, you have to understand the concept of the spot dodge OS and like, I don't know the actual name for it, I'm going to call it like the mashing OS or the button OS or whatever. So here's how it works basically. So let's say for example, you block the jab and you're like, okay, is he going to throw me or is he going to go for a throw bait? So this is what you want to do. For the spot dodge OS, you do a very delayed spot dodge. Now spot dodges are not invincible to grabs. They're invincible to everything but grab. So basically the timing you're going to spot dodge is, for example, let's say you're fighting a Belial, you know, a common frame trap they're going to do is like 2L to 2M. Now you could jump out of it, but that's besides the point. You're not able to press any buttons, like if you mash jab, you're going to get hit, so I'm going to use that as an example. So basically, you're going to want to spot dodge at the same timing of where you would have the frame trap basically. So what would happen is, you would be holding block after the jab, you would input spot dodge, and the timing you would input spot dodge, if the opponent was already doing the frame trap, you would block the frame trap. So that's what I mean, you're doing like a delayed spot dodge. Because this is how it works like in most fighting games. If you press something while you're in block stun, it's not going to come out because you're in block stun, so nothing you press is going to come out. So you use that to your advantage. You're pressing spot dodge at that timing, you would be in block stun. But let's say the opponent doesn't go for the frame trap and then goes for the throw. And you're saying, well, if I spot dodge, aren't they going to get grabbed? Well, this is how it works. You press spot dodge and you press grab immediately after you press spot dodge. Because you're doing spot dodge at a delayed timing, which means if the opponent were to go for a tick throw, you would be grabbed before you even spot dodged, if you understand what I'm saying. So if the opponent were to go for a tick throw, when you press spot dodge, you are already in the throw animation. You're beginning the throw animation. But the way you do the OS, you do a spot dodge and then tech immediately afterwards. So what does that do? If he goes for a grab, you're actually just going to tech the throw because the spot dodge input is not going to come out. So you never actually spot dodged even though you pressed the input because you delayed it at the right timing. So you just be doing a late tech for the throw. And if the opponent were to go for an overhead, you're already spot dodging because you press spot dodge, which means you dodge the overhead. And you can do the same concept with a button. So it works the same way. The opponent frame traps, you press a button really late. So if they do the frame trap, nothing will come out. If they grab you, your button's not going to come out because you're ready in the grab animation. You press tech right after you press a button and you tech the throw. If the opponent were to do an overhead, you would hit them with your button because the overhead comes out really slow. I hope that made sense, but let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to do the button OS and you'll see how it works. So I'm going to have Belial do a tick throw, a frame trap, and overhead. So basically that's a general good tactic you want to do in this game anyway. You can do that against any other character, and of course the way you beat that, just so you know, you could either do a delayed meaty. So if you do a delayed meaty, the opponent will actually have their spot dodge come out, meaning that if they do the spot dodge, you could punish the recovery of the spot dodge, or if they do the button OS, you can punish their delayed button. So that is a weakness of that OS, but for the most part it covers everything pretty nicely. So now I'm very excited to tell you the OS I found instead of doing all that. So instead of just doing like an auto combo OS, you can do the same OS with 2H because it works in the same scenario. As long as you press a button at a delayed timing to where if they go for a grab, you'll tech it, you know, if they go for a meaty, you block it and whatnot. So since Belial is able to do this little move instead of the overhead, I came up with the OS of doing a 2-8 instead of doing the auto combo so you can get a much bigger combo. Now of course for your character it might be better to do like a little jab OS, but personally I find that a little bit harder because you have to press jab tech, and then start mastering jab again if you want the rest of the auto combo to come out to get some kind of combo. So now let me show you what that looks like. So I personally love that OS. I find it much easier to do than the other one, and it works great versus Belial because his throw bait basically makes him jump, and 2H is the best anti-air, so you can get the best punish for it. Now of course it has its weaknesses. You know, if the opponent catches on to what you're doing, if they just sit there and block and they block your 2H is actually punishable on block. It's not safe just to do 2H with any character. So you can add on to this OS to maybe make it safe. So let's say you have a safe special move, for example. For this OS, you can do 2H into whatever that safe special move is for your character and then press tech. It's a little bit harder to do, but it does work the same way. And yeah guys, I think that pretty much covers everything about how to deal with Belial. It's a lot of nonsense. It is hard to do all these things I showed you. Honestly, you just gotta practice it because it's all like timings of when you press your buttons, and you have to see for your character, okay, what button do I press here, what button do I press there, what can I do here, blah blah blah. But I hope this video at least showed you the general concept of what you're supposed to do, so you at least have an idea of how to fight this character. And especially the last thing I showed you, I think that's the most useful, that little OS. Because even if he does all that other nonsense, I mean, the worst case scenario, you know, you get hit by a command grab, okay. He grabs you a couple times, okay. Like if you just chill and block, he's just gonna grab you. He's not really gonna open you up all that much if you just choose to block it out. But knowing how to beat Belial's throw baits is awesome. So anyway guys, that's about it for the video today. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on my Twitter and my Twitch. And I'll see you guys next time.